Well, hey, Muppets, I think we're live.
Hey! I feel
Should we
live.
call it a show?
Yeah, I'm ready for this. How about you?
No, but let's do it anyways.
Okay, yeah, lovely.
You want to count us down and then we'll explain what we're doing?
Yeah. I'll give us the countdown, and then you can start it off. I'll go into a little bit about the opening route, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh.
All right. So we are starting with Ayla and Robo, who I forgot to rename, which I always do, but oh well. This is Jets of Time, which is a randomizer for Chrono Trigger. It is an effort to give you an open world randomizer, meaning you've got the epoch, you're able to fly over the world to various locations. That doesn't mean you can go everywhere at any time, and that'll become more apparent as we go along. There's a couple different routes to the end game, and Muppets and I are doing a little showcase here to show off what this really can do and some of the different ways you can get through it.
Yeah, and it's important to note that when Trenton's talking about different ways to finish the game, he's talking about completely different ways, as in paths to the end game. So just like in the vanilla game, where there are multiple ways to get to Lavos, here, there are multiple ways to get to Lavos as well, and we're definitely going to show off all three of them, if possible, in this run, right here. So what you're seeing from me right now is a little opening game looting right here, because resources are definitely slim right now. We have nothing. I've got a robot and a prehistoric mammal, and a pocket full of dreams is what I've got. And so we're just picking up some stuff, going shopping, and seeing what we can sell.
Well, I'm getting my first key item check in here at 1000 AD. The carpenter, who feels like drinking soda pop all day, is going to offer me something if I go talk to his wife. Because he's lazy. I like coming to 1000 because I get a couple of tabs for that, and this one is a completely free check. And that gives me the Moonstone. So the Moonstone, of course, does become the Sunstone. That part is vanilla, but what the Sunstone is going to be will vary. And we will see when we get there.
Now, I've just jumped in and joined Trenton in 1000 AD after doing a little shopping and a little looting. This is still part of my shopping-looting route. That invariably leads me to a relatively similar path. One thing that I'm going to highlight here is Lian Square has 3 shops in it. This guy down in the lower left-hand corner. I already have mid-tonics, and so that's fine. This guy up here, revives. It's nice to have 2 revives, something like that. Just in case. And then Melchior is an interesting one because he is guaranteed to have a decent weapon for each character, as well as
Except
revives
Ayla, she doesn't need no weapon.
Yeah, Ayla doesn't care. Ayla's gonna use her Fists of Fury and knock down everybody.
Her fist actually does change names, though. She levels up.
Yeah, if you get high enough. What is it, like level 75 you get the Iron Fist? Level 99 you get the Bronze?
There's like 3.
Oh, okay. But I'm going to be picking up a lot of the same tabs that you'll see Trenton pick up, because speed is arguably the most important stat in Chrono Trigger.
Real quick, we didn't mention techs yet, so for these 2 characters, we were 5 tech points away from their first techs, and they are randomized. It's still that character's techs, but what order they're in varies. And before I forget further, let's speed this up a little.
Speaking of techs and tech points, I'm doing something that Ice Blue introduced me to. Shoutouts to Ice Blue on this one. It's a little itty-bitty grind fight. You go to the You go to the monsters shop right over here in Medina Village, and you plead with the shopkeep there, and the shopkeep will actually give you a bit of a hard time. Him and his Omicron will attack you. It's worth 450 experience and 5 tech points, and it's a really nice way to gain 5 levels.
I just wrecked him.
Yep.
All right, the other check we should show off real fast is right over here, and it's the snail stop where vanilla game you could buy Jerky. So this is a check you can get to with no fight, but it costs money to get the item. That's the bent sword, and I'm not going to need that on my route, so I'm going to leave that.
Well, I was headed there anyway. Let's see. Megaton arm would be nice, but I don't need it. I need the money. I'm gonna go up here and do this.
This money can go quick. It looks like a big number when you're starting the game, but boy, it can go quick.
Yeah. Money spends fast in this, and to increase the difficulty and not give you a majority share of the entire universe, revives and shelters have been increased in price. 1,000 gold for a revive and 1,250 for a shelter, which is outrageous, but it also puts the screws on you. Bent sword. Definitely take that.
So there are a lot of shops in the world. You're never quite sure what's going to be out there, so I'm looking around, seeing what's going on. I was going to take the stone arm for a little bit of upgrade cheaply right now. It'll get me through the first major fight that's forthcoming. And also I'm going to stop in the bridge, because to be able to do the Zombor section later, you have to talk to the Knight Captain first. So when routing this, it's helpful to talk to him along the way.
Yeah. Part of my initial route, I roll in a clockwise fashion, and it's one of the first things that I end up doing.
Heals are nice and cheap. It's good to have a little stack of them, even if you're not planning to use much of them. But when your character is confused, you want that to stop.
And when your character's stopped, you also want that to stop.
Don't get stopped very often.
Yeah, well, more so these days than ever before.
You know, I forgot to have a handy copy pasta of the actual link to the website and Discord, but if anyone's got that in chat, if you could throw it out, we'd appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
So this is, by the way, a very, very new version of the randomizer. This particular version we're playing is not even a week old. Now, the randomizer has been around a little bit longer than that, but we are playing a very recent update.
And the randomizer's been around in different incarnations, too. Started out as Wings of Time to sort of develop the ideas, and then Jets of Time kind of streamlined a lot of things. When it came to experience gains, the way the key item structure is actually laid out. So
there's also... Go ahead.
I'm doing the Cathedral right now, and where Frog normally joins you, a randomized character will join you. And that's Frog's vanilla location, but we see a princess right there.
Yeah, I also want to mention that many of these enemies have been adjusted to try and fit within the Jets world a little better. So if it's an early access dungeon like that Sunken Desert you've seen us fly by a couple of times, that's at a lower level than it would be vanilla. And there's other stuff that has been rebalanced to be at a higher level.
It's a good thing I didn't buy that Megaton arm, because there it is, in a treasure chest.
So you're saying I just saved a bunch of money?
Pretty much.
Even switching my car insurance.
Yeah, with Megaton. So I'm doing the a little optional piece that you sometimes don't see speedrunners do of this, which is the Naga et Bromide portion of the Cathedral, where you find what I guess is like a young hatchling or something like that, and you take that. And then 3 henches fight you. There's a man in the village in the center of 600 AD that you can trade that in for. And in vanilla, you get a magic tab, but in this, you are also rewarded with a power and speed tab in addition to that magic tab. So it ends up being a real important thing, heavily incentivized.
So I've done a lot of these fights in the forest. I like to pick up that power tab that's down there. Plus, if there's any AoE text that you can unlock before doing the Nagaet fight at the entrance to the cathedral, it just speeds that up considerably. So if there's a way to get the 3 texts before going in there, I try to do it.
You know, that's a good point. I haven't even looked at my techs. I'm very bad about that. So I've got Cat Attack and Rock Throw, Rocket Punch, Robo Tackle, and Marley's casually learning her final spell.
Which is actually not that great.
Yeah.
For our purposes in the early game anyways.
Yeah. A revive practically is a half heal.
Also, yes, that dude still drops the shelter in 600, and so I grab a couple of those to help make up for the deficit of not being able to buy a stack. But it's a very slow process, so you're not going to do too many.
Yeah, one of the things that the increase in cost shows you is the importance of knowing where your free heals are. Free stays, eat some cake in Medina Square, the free heal in the End of Time, all of those nice little freebie spots. That way you don't have to drop 1,200 on a shelter in order to lay down a heal.
Or just go to the inn and spend 10 gold to get full health.
Yep, 10 gold is pretty much nothing here. 10 gold's enough for a heal and a pat on the back.
I've got some corrupted save data here, but that's not going to affect anything. Still, it's a good idea to save before a boss, because if they're going to behave differently, or you're just going to have different resources than you're used to, it makes a difference.
Can't believe I got into this encounter. I hit the bat, Trenton.
Have I taught you nothing?
I know, right? I never hit that bat. Never hit that
stuff
bat.
Like that happens. Just a lot of these encounters in Chrono Trigger, if you're not familiar, are actually skippable. You just have to know the correct routing to get past them. So we will be doing a good portion of that as we're able.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's going to be an awful lot of skipping in this.
Also, can I just say how nice it is that all these early enemies are dropping ethers?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. Given the nature of how starved you get in resources in this game, one of the biggest problems that you can find early on is magic points. Your MP really takes huge hits because you also have the tech randomizer working for you. So you have higher cost techs available early. You might only be able to do 1 or 2. So having ethers, just basic, ordinary, everyday ethers, can really save your bacon.
Yeah, so like we've got Ozzie Punch here nice and early, which is great, but how many times can you use it against good old Yakra here?
Well, we're about to find out.
I mean, I just got in here, so I'm working at a different pace than you.
Well, you're doing a different route than me.
We're doing different things.
Yeah. So, fun fact, you can just walk right between those guys. Yeah, they see you. They don't care.
They don't get paid enough for this.
They do not get paid enough for this.
Biggest reason we're both doing the Cathedral, by the way, there's no key item attached to this, but there's 2 characters attached to this. So we got Marley as the first character, and there is another one once you complete it, which is, ironically enough, Marley would vanilla join.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when I've been running this, you would normally see me skip out on whatever character would be coming on the back end of the Cathedral. I would just go up, loot, and jet out. You don't have to complete Cathedral, but you do have to complete Cathedral if you want that other character on the back end. And because we are doing a little bit of a showcase here, I'm going to kind of make it easier on me, and Gonna do this particular segment.
The other big thing we didn't mention with the techs is, of course, in the game you're designed to go to the end of time to learn magic. To try and make life reasonable, you're able to get the first 3 techs on magic-restricted characters so that you're able to get through magic-restricted dungeons or bosses. So, for example, if you had to go through Heckran's cave to be able to make progress and get to the end of time, but you don't have magic, that'd just be a jerk.
Yep.
So you'll be able to get the first level techs, like Luca with fire, Marley with ice, if you didn't do tech randomizer. If you do tech randomizer, then luck of the draw what you get.
And it is important. It is important to note that there are still 3 characters that do not require the end of time in order to get all of their techs. And that is Ayla, Robo, and Magus.
Yes, we started with 2 out of the 3, which is very convenient.
Yeah.
But it also means once you have unlocked all 3 of those with a character, then the value of them soaking up tech points is non-existent because they're not getting their next tech. So you'd rather swap them out with somebody else who can use the tech points.
And we're going to see who's trapped in time and who we just rescued right now. Well, well, well. Like Mephistopheles, speak of him and he shall appear.
I am getting close to the end of the cathedral. We're in the organ room fight now.
So remember that whole thing about talking to the guy in front of Zenan Bridge? You're about to see the fruits of that particular labor right now. Once I optimize everything.
Don't forget to save.
Oh, never forget to save. Never forget to save. It can be a cruel mistress, this game. So you don't go actually to Zenan Bridge to engage the Zenan Bridge segment. You go here. And you have to wait for that text box to clear. Pipe down, what do you know? And then you can go up the stairs. When you do, the key item is actually shown to you right away.
So if it's worthless to you, you can just reset out of it.
Mm-hmm. That is unfortunately something that offers some semblance of a hope of progression, so I'm going to take it.
I may have accidentally triggered an extra fight.
No.
I'm going to claim it was for the ether.
Did you get a bat? Was it a bat? Was it a bat, Trenton?
There was a bat involved. It was on my way to the final save point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that. Yeah. Let's see here. That's not particularly useful. So...
By the way, as I get ready to do Yakra here, let's give a huge shout out to Strizer, who stepped up to be our restreamer and tracker today. And that's a big part of what helps make these marathons work on Randomania. So show a lot of love to the restreamers, please.
All the hearts. All the hearts. Yeah, Strizer busted onto the scene, what, like February or something like that? And he's been doing some work with Jets. It's been really nice.
Muppet's asking me to remember things. Who are you again?
I don't know. So I'm taking advantage of a little AI script in this fight here on the bridge. If you hit Ozzie 3 times in any way, shape, or form, it just ends those little skeleton fights.
Busting on like the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah! Who came first, Macho Man or Kool-Aid Man? Now I want to know this.
I think the Kool-Aid Man came first. I think that was a thing in, like, the 1970s, but I'm not confident in that. Alright. So you kind of have to approach these fights in a pretty specific manner because a lot of Chrono Trigger boss fights are fairly gimmicky in nature and have sort of hidden if-then statements about them. For example, Zombor, if the bottom of Zombor is ever at half HP, I want to say, then when the top dies, it triggers a AoE counter, doom, 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 doom. And it does a considerable portion of damage. Also, it can just do that attack at you without being triggered by having it be a death counter. So the optimal strategy is to go after the top, eliminate the top. Yes, it'll hit you with MP Buster, and we don't particularly care. And then we just slice out the bottom from the legs out under, and it's done.
Since Muppets is working on that, I'm going to head over to the mountain range here after a quick save. I don't actually like to do it this early normally because I'd rather have some kind of status attack that will affect them, but it's a good enough early place that will make do. I've got Dark Mist, so that's his stronger AoE that's not Dark Matter. That's good. He starts with 2 techs because of where he was. Normally they'd start with 3, but he's an exception because he's Magus and he's OP.
Pretty much. If you get Magus, your opening game is, it opens wide up, and it allows you to do certain things that you wouldn't normally consider doing in the opening game. For example, what I'm doing right now is I'm going right into Heckran Cave. I have the 3 characters that are not end-of-time restricted in their tech point gains. And the tech point gains that you get from Heckran Cave are actually relatively high. So, I mean, aside from this 2 hench encounter. So I'm going to take advantage of that as much as possible, get in here and do what I can. Magus has access to 1 AoE magic attack, and that hopefully will get me through. I'm pretty sure it will.
Yeah, that gin bottle fight, especially with 25 tech points, is one of the sweetest early fights there is if you've got the AoE to kill it. First 2 fights here are very unavoidable. Most of the rest of them can be. This one up here, you can't avoid it, but you don't have to fight it.
Nice. So
you just run away.
You could avoid this fight down here, the Temporites, by just moving to the side right there. But I actually want the fight, so I'm going to intentionally engage it. Oh, that was overkill.
As far as all of the fight locations and triggers, they're mostly all vanilla. There's some mini bosses that were removed.
Yeah, you're not going to run into anything that was added as far as a boss or enemy location in this game, but you may find some have been subtracted.
Yeah, I think we'll see a couple of familiar ones. Elemental vests are very handy to pick up early game.
Oh, yeah. Blue vest less so, but you can find a good use for the other 3 in many different locations. Not just red vests or red mails. Black vests and black mails are especially good, especially in the future, where most of the laser attacks that are coming at you are shadow-based attacks. And then
That
there's
guy likes
White
to
Vests.
kick rocks at us, so you want to stand there for a second and actually get the rock from him. So that one's the black rock, which I'm not going to have a use for, but I really, for triple techs, I personally only tend to do Omega Flare. I don't really like the triple techs, honestly.
You shameless 100%er.
Yeah, well.
I mean, Omega Flare's cool. Back when I was a kid first playing this game, I was gaga over Arc Impulse. Don't know why. Arc Impulse was that was my tech, baby.
So I heard a rumor mountains are nice.
Oh. Gosh, this is the life.
You're nosy. Take this.
Hey. I resemble that remark. Now, ironically, a blue vest would actually be really, really handy in the current dungeon that I'm in because Heckran, 75% of Heckran's attacks are water-based. He has 1 physical attack and 3 water attacks. And that's about it. And the physical attack is nominal. Lovely.
Alright, finally going to use a couple of my tabs. Speed Magus up, because I know I'll use him in the end game. Your speed tab acquisition is typically going to be limited, so use them wisely.
Yeah. Yeah, the charm tables are also randomized and slightly altered too, so if you go through the Black Omen, be prepared to be disappointed when you charm those panels. You are not getting a speed tab, I guarantee you.
I may have shown that off in the early days, and then he changed it in the next version.
Yeah. I mean, at first, I believe Raster just sort of deleted it because it was like, no, I can't let that fly. And to be fair, no, you can't let that fly. You just sit there and farm them for hours, and everyone has max speed, and you win.
But even other useful stuff like haste helmets, there is no guarantee you're going to see a haste helmet.
None at all. Haste helms, prism helms, heck, even a sight cap, you're not exactly likely to find.
That was weird. Controller was acting up on me. Alright. Got Massa immune here. Let's see what we can do.
It's funny, you're in your Massa immune fight, and I'm in the Heckran fight right now. And Heckran, just like in vanilla, has resistance to physical damage. You can only hit him with magic damage. But he's got a few more than the 500 hit points, I believe, he has in vanilla. Because you'll notice that I'm definitely just wrecking his face right now. Oh! Never mind, down goes Ayla.
Muppet's pride goeth before the fall.
Every time.
So, Massa immune, it's nice if you can status them, like with Hypno Wave, to keep them from counterattacking, which they'll only do if both of them are alive and well. But I'm just kind of eating that on this one.
Yeah.
Magus has his vanilla amulet on, which gives me status protect, though, so that's why I'm not terribly worried.
So to show off the charm table a little bit here, I'm going to actually utilize the skill. And it missed, of course.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
It's no guarantee.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to talk her up. Ayla, you are a charming young woman. You can do this. What can you get from this evil dinosaur thing? Yeah, see, there you go. It worked.
You're good enough, you're smart enough, and people like you.
Gosh darn it. People like you.
Well, unfortunately, Masamune did not like Marley very much.
And Heckran doesn't exactly like Dark Mist, so that's it. Now you'll notice I didn't get a key item from that, and it's because you actually have to get it right here. The tab and vest has been replaced by a key item, and now we get to have our first discussion about Go mode. So, I have, in my possession, the bent sword and the bent hilt. Now, in vanilla, you need bent sword, bent hilt, and dreamstone to forge the Masamune, the fabled sword. But in this, the dreamstone does something else. The dreamstone's been repurposed to allow you access in a different way to the final game. So you just bring the two halves of the sword to Melchior, and he's like, oh yeah, I had spare dreamstone in the basement. I got this, bro.
Well, you know, you keep various things in the ground. You never know when you're going to need them.
Yeah, never know.
Got a little wrecked by Masamune because I came in too low health from the Masa and Mune fight. But we're making a comeback.
Comeback, kid. So I'm going back to 600 AD now because I've got one of the 3 pieces that I would need for this particular side of Go mode. I'm going to keep searching. And to that end, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a shelter grind right here.
Also, I absolutely love the use of trumpet in the music throughout this game. Like, Masamune is one of my favorites with the trumpet line.
Oh, yeah, the giant brass section. The music in this game, for me, is probably the biggest reason why I keep coming back to it. A lot of people say that Chrono Trigger is not their favorite game. A lot of people say it is their favorite game. For me, it is my favorite game, but they take exception to the fact that it's sort of an RPG easy mode, which, if you grind enough, any RPG is easy mode, but there are aspects of this game that can be busted wide open. Magus, even as a character, is a busted wide open character that you have access to, and some people take a little bit of exception to the way that the tech point structure is created, and the fact that, you know, speed matters as much as it does. But at the end of the day, one thing that I can generally hear some good solid consensus about is that the soundtrack is amazing.
Absolutely. So I just got the pendant, which is going to be access to one of the eras. That's going to give us access to the future. I can't remember if there's a second way to get to the future now, because that's changed throughout the versions. But that's your primary method of getting to the future.
Yep. So what you see me doing here is I'm doing the Sunken Desert. I'm doing the Sunken Desert for 2 reasons. One, it's an incredible source of grinding. If you've got an AoE Ice 2, if you got yourself some Ice AoE, if you've got a strong enough other elemental AoE, you can tear through these in one shot. And Magus, with access to Ice 2, doesn't even let him get one single turn in. But the other reason is because I have Robo in my party. And just like in vanilla, Robo is required to unlock what happens at the end of beating Retinite here.
Now, you may be wondering if Magus is so great, why would you use the other characters for their magic? For Marley and Luca, their Fire 2 or Ice 2, respectively, will do it like 2.5 times the damage that Magus will.
I believe it's 1.75 times, but
I believe that.
But still, that's an incredible increase in damage. And also with Marley, you have access to haste, which is arguably the most powerful spell or status in the game. And with Luca, you have access to flare, which by itself is probably the most powerful spell in the game, and can be used in really overpowered tech combos. I believe Blaze Kick uses flare. There is a dual tech with Robo that uses flare. There's Frog Flare
also uses flare. Mm-hmm. It's right there in the name.
Yep, Omega Flare. Mm-hmm.
So obviously the drops are randomized as well. We may not have highlighted on that too much, but I just got a random hurricane from one of the guards, which is pretty sweet.
Aw.
So that. You can knock these out and get mid-tonics from them. I'd rather get hurricanes.
Yeah. Well, and the biggest reason why you would want that instead of a consumable, even if you're low on consumables, is because those hurricanes sell for like a stack of 99 of those mid-tonics that you could get from them.
Yeah, so I'll definitely want to take advantage of that instead of the usual knockout route you would see. Also, chat, can I get some hashtag free Fritzes? Poor Fritz. He's here in jail. He needs someone to save him.
Free Fritz!
It's cold, it's dark, he's lonely.
It matters.
Do you care, chat? Do you care about poor Fritz?
Oh my goodness. This was an absolute haul. And now the Retinite fight. So you notice I didn't heal Magus's MP. That's because Retinite doesn't take damage from magic sources. But I did cast that Ice 2 because I did want the defense down from the AI script. If you hit him with water, it says sand, water hardens sand defense down, and that actually matters a ton in this fight. And I just have Robo and Ayla wail on him.
Chat says save the animals, but they'll settle for Fritz.
I'm with you, Angirl.
Almost broken out of this place. Of course, this is where, when you first came back to 1000 AD after saving Marley, they would put you on trial. To speed things up, they skipped the trial sequence and just threw you in jail.
One of the best choices that he made for that, too. It skips just a ton of unnecessary cutscene. Big quality of life improvement.
Another thing we didn't really talk about is a lot of the text boxes has been cut down. A lot of the dialogue has to help speed things up. So there's kind of reduced to necessary elements in general, but you see a lot of it cut back. And
right.
Lightning 2, that's handy.
So we're going to head back to 1000 AD and see what we get at the end of this. Oh! I did the dumb thing. You got to talk to Fiona first. You got... Well, there you go, Trenton.
You just wanted to show people why that's
seconds.
important. Gotta let the people know why these things are important.
Yeah. So Ayla's gonna be a close talker here for a second. Now we go to 1000.
Damage.
Details. All
right, Dragon Tank coming up here. He has been buffed a bit because you'd had to go through something else to get the pendant, so you're going to be leveled up when you're here. But conceptually, it's the same fight where the head is going to heal, so if you can kill it, you'll knock out the healing. Gonna let him heal first, and then Magus is gonna throw out a dark mist to hurt everything, because that's what it's there for.
Well, that's right in line with what I was gonna do.
Hurt things?
Pretty much. So, get the hero medal out of the Sunken Desert quest. You have to talk to old busted Robo in order to get it. So I've got the sword and I've got the medal. I don't have the frog. Oh, there he is. A pseudo vanilla frog as well.
Also, Chancellor Surprise if you have FFC enabled. Always a good time.
So the only way to recruit this character down in Frog's Burrow is to have the Masamune forged. You show it to him, and that character joins your party. Now, technically,
Real
that's
quick,
Gobo.
one of the flags we have enabled is the pendant flag, which means instead of having to go to the Mammon machine to charge it, as soon as you enter the future, it's charged. So, I can open these doors now.
Such a good quality of life improvement.
That's an either or. You can get it from either place. And of course, there's a couple shops here. Dome's easy to get to. Yes, I do call this money. Thanks for asking. It's got a star scythe for sale, but that's a little expensive. Let's see how much money I have from these hurricanes.
So what I just did there is I talked to the king in 600 AD, which triggered a very specific set of text boxes. When you have the prism shard in your inventory, what happens is it triggers the king's trial when you talk to the king in 600 AD. He says something about storing the rainbow shell down in the basement, and it opens up this entire wing right here, and then this becomes an active quest. And it should be noted that, just like in vanilla, it requires Marley. Without Marley, you can't do the quest. Much to my chagrin.
Jet's calling for the Intron. We'll get an Intron here in just a minute.
But you're still hungry. Flash mail.
We'll pop in and check the shop at an Arisdome. Of course, Guardian is another check. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going around getting treasures, and I want to unlock the end of time first. But I do want to see the shop. So we've got some mid-tonics for sale, revives are for sale. I'm pretty okay on both of those right now. We did get some mid-ethers from the first shop, so those are handy. Storing 30 MP at a time covers a lot of ground with text, because that's 2 Ozzie punches, for example.
Yeah, if you're masochistic enough to run the no elixir glitch route of the Eternal Nightmare Chrono Trigger randomizer, you'll know that mid-ethers pretty much sustain any seed.
So we gotta get these to bugger off. I thought you would boo me for that one, honestly. This is where we would get Robo Vanilla. So, 1, it's access to the end of time after you complete the factory, and 2, it's a character.
Well, the shell turned out to be a refreshing beverage. And
Chad asked why I'm behind. 1, because Muppets is awesome, and 2, because we're actually going intentionally different routes.
So, before we embarked on this, we sort of decided that Trenton was going to take the future/Death Peak route, and I was going to do as dang much of the rest of the game as I possibly could. We are trying to show this off as fast as possible, which is why this estimate is as high as it is. Normally, these seeds can be completed in under 2.5 hours. I have been completing them in anywhere between an hour and 50 minutes to 2 hour and 10 minutes, depending on the roughness of the drops and the how convoluted the route ends up being, that sort of thing.
Hey Muppets, guess what just happened?
Oh, what's that?
I soft locked.
Oh no! How did you do that?
This is a good question.
Where did you do it?
You know what? My joystick just stopped working. It switched to D-pad. That's what happened.
Oh, okay. Ugh. Not a soft.
So I got to redo Dragon Tank.
Oh no! Oh,
yeah, that
Trenton.
happens. This never happens in a marathon. Check that off on your bingo card.
Good lord.
So
Well,
my
it'll
controller,
give
I
you
have a
some time to
D-pad
get
and I
some
have
more
a
of this
stick, and I
game in.
prefer to move with the stick.
Shoutouts to Yakety Sax.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to go to YouTube and play it during that fight, but
You have
it's
to
an
go to
improvement.
YouTube and play it during the fight. Yeah, so is that soft lock, was that in the, under
I actually
Eris
think
Dome?
it was my controller. I think it was my controller just spontaneously decided to switch.
Okay.
And it went from going stick to D-pad. The good news is I didn't lose much time. I just have to redo Dragon Tank, which is already done.
Yeah.
This is why you save before bosses.
You always save.
It's one of the interesting things about Randomizer is you're going to break games open and you're going to discover stuff you didn't otherwise know. But also you find very interesting bugs by doing things that the game creator never anticipated you were going to do. Like the first time that any of us took Magus into the Dark Ages. The game was not prepared to handle that. But hey, we get Chancellor Surprise again, so that's a win in my book. So obviously that's one of the cases where Cecil's done good work in unsoft-locking the entire Dark Ages if you have Magus.
Oh, man. Well, and the number of weird, hard-coded things in this game, and the number of different things that get coded through itself in this game makes altering any part of it just a complete nightmare. But, like, not enough can be said about the work that was done in eventing alone in the game, let alone finding erroneous soft locks for random things that could possibly happen, characters unexpected in certain locations. It's just, this game is not easy to mess around with. It is unforgiving on programmers, and so big shout-outs to Raster Cecil about that. It's all pretty impressive to me. I just run it.
Indeed, and one of the earliest things he was trying to do was boss shuffle, and the reason that that's not a thing is because it is extremely complicated and causes all sorts of unforeseen problems.
Yes, and they're problems that Raster Cecil at one time said can be fixed, but it would require so much time and energy to go into just that it cannot really do it alone. And so that's going to be something that if it gets implemented in here, which I hope it does, that it would be implemented much later. Because a boss shuffle in Chrono Trigger would be the absolute cat's meows.
Mentioned in chat, there's a bunch of guides for beginners. Yeah, we've tried to put out some good material that if you don't necessarily know the boss strats, because, for example, even speedrunners who play this game, the majority of playing is any % runs that skip bosses all over the place.
Yeah.
So if you have to fight them, they don't necessarily know how to.
Which is not to say you have to play it glitchless, because there is a flag that gets enabled when you generate one of these randomized seeds that asks, do you want to play glitchless or not? The standard way that most people play this is glitchless. I've played it with glitches before. It's not that interesting with glitches because you're only saving maybe 4 minutes, and you're probably losing more on the back end just by virtue of all of the gear and experience you are not accumulating while actually fighting the bosses.
The biggest thing that playing with the glitches is going to give you is that you are not going to care about what armor you get.
Right.
All right, so we got through it that time, got Luca without soft locking, so yay.
Yay!
Let's do that. All right, I'm going to switch Ayla out for Robo.
So what you see me doing here right now is, after completing the King's Trial, I received Toma's Pop, and that is something you pour on the gravestone of Toma in 1000 AD, and that unlocks access to Giant's Claw in 600 AD, and then you can go down here and do this dungeon. There are encounters in this dungeon, aside from the one that you just saw. You're not going to see any of them, because I know how to skip all of them. Like, you don't need to fight anything in there. You don't really need to fight these guys down here. This one I won't skip. For a very well-known reason. Rubble!
Rubbles are pretty good. Oh, the other thing we haven't really touched on yet is where characters join affect them having techs, so you can see that Luca started with 3 techs already.
I'm gonna actually get more into that if I switch out for Frog, what I slice in to get to Magus' Castle. Well, this Rubble's being uncomfortable, uncooperative. The dodging boulders of sadness. Oh! Nothing. You get nothing.
Good day, sir.
I said good day! Now, I'm not the most bummed about that. I'm only level 19 right now. I probably can't hit these guys very well with the party that I have. Typically speaking, you want one of your long-range characters, one of your Luca or your Marley, which have a higher hit stat, and that's going to help you. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of this swing and a miss, but Rubbles are really nice because they're worth 1,000 experience in this and 50 tech points instead of the 100 in vanilla. And that's just because of the rebalance that was done to tech points in this game. Hey, but I got one. Yep, 1,000 experience, 50 tech points.
The other big thing that can help is if Magus is high enough level that his hit rate is up, you can also do things like put the hit ring on that you'd never use for any other fight, but you can boost your hit pretty massively for the Rubbles with that.
You can also get an increased hit rate from Berserker, if I'm not mistaken, as well as a little bit of implied speed by virtue of the fact that you don't have to make an input in order to get them to attack.
I'm not sure it does hit because it already does attack and defense. I don't think it does three things. Subject to being wrong on that one, but yeah, skipping the input definitely helps. And of course, in the glitchless speedrun, that's what you'd do there is you would use Magus Berserk and he would kill them and all would be well, but he's high level there and has a high hit rate.
All right, let's go fight a Rust Tyranno.
Meanwhile, I'm on my way to the R series.
Haha. Well, you're talking about
R
that.
series is a nice, easy fight as long as you don't let them attack. They are. When they start volleyballing you, you're gonna take a ton of damage. So it's best to kill them as quickly as possible. Also, I moved in such a way I skipped a ton of fights here. Skipped like 6 that were on the way.
Yeah. Ayla, you're a charming young lady. What can you get from this giant Tyrannosaurus Rex? Comet arrow. Give yourself some credit, Ayla. So the AI scripts have not been altered to any of these fights. It's still gonna be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get blasted. The power of that blast, however, is a mite stronger than you might remember it being. But we're not gonna let him get there.
Has that attack been randomized, or is that only the Black Tyranno?
Black Tyranno.
Black Tyranno will hit you with a random one.
Might have time to show that off.
Alright, so here we are, the end of time. And let's go see our friend, our pal, our buddy, Specchio. The Master of War. So chat, of course, feel free to walk around your room 3 times thinking magic. I'm not promising anything will happen. And if anything does, I blame Muppets.
A boy can dream! And while he's going through the end of time via the factory, you're actually going to see me hit the end of time a completely different way. So I just received the gate key, and the gate key allows you access to prehistory via that one closet in 1000 AD. Nice little convergence, I'd say, yeah?
I'm actually going to take the Specchio fight. He likes to give tabs. So I'll be able to pick up some magic tabs from him.
Now, I have absolutely no intention of using Marley or Frog. I have my final party. But I do want to show this off, and I like the idea that you and I both hit the end of time at roughly the same time. I saw my chance and I took it, Trenton.
So for the end of time route, I need the clone and the chrono trigger. So we got 1080, we got 2300, 600, 1000. I'm just showing off what the pillars go to. 1000 and 2300. So we don't have the Dark Ages, we don't have Prehistory unlocked just because we got to the end of time.
And you'll notice with my faffing about of the time machine dial, as I was trying to figure out where the heck I was going, it automatically skips those options. Those options are locked out until the requisite pieces are done or the requisite events have been triggered.
All right, I need some more shelters right now. I've still only got my 2, so now with a bit of cash in the bank.
Shelter grind? Aw. No shelter grind?
I did 2 of them early just to make sure I had them, but I still have them. So there's 2 Belkier stops, by the way. This one's got mid-aethers for sale. Mid-tonics, I've got enough mid-tonics, so that one doesn't have anything for me. I'll go back to the fair one, which... This was another quality of life he added. We had this discussion in the early days about making sure you had access to some of the essential items. And he's just a logical place to put them.
So I don't really have to do this, but I'm going to show it off anyway. One of the other character locations, and this location is lesser done in the normal mode, is Dactyl Nest. You don't get a key item, but you get another character, and that character actually joins with, I believe, 5 techs unlocked.
Also, I just spontaneously decided to fight Gato. Normally don't tend to do this, but with random drops, you never know. He could have something really good.
Truth.
Or he could drop a mid-tonic instead. I didn't even get the silver points. I left the screen so fast. Get wrecked, old man. You would have talked against me.
You know, I never remember to do that fight because I almost never get anything from it. But every once in a while, you can get a nice little drop that you can farm from it.
That'll be the game-winning mid-tonic there, says chat. If that is, this is going to be some high drama.
Yeah.
All right, so my next destination is going to be here, the Geno Dome. And it has a couple advantages to it, but let's make sure my equipment is up to snuff here.
Hey, it's my favorite character. And I'm not going to use him.
Okay, can't use that, so I might as well do it that way.
Nope. One of the things that I tend to like about having access to Prehistory is the extra shop can be very consequential. Do that. That's fine. And now it's time to sell a bunch of stuff.
That's where your money comes from. The conveyor belt is repeatable, by the way, if you want to grind levels here. It's not the greatest place to do it just because this is not end-game experience yet. It's still very decent. But there'll be fights later on that give a lot more than that as I get Ozzie Punch unlocked, which that doesn't stink.
Yeah, I hear it's a pretty good tech.
I've actually still got the Berserker on Robo just so I don't have to worry about giving him inputs right now.
You got a Berserker?
Yeah,
Neat.
there was one for sale.
Oh, I see. Is this far enough over for me to get the special room? It is! Great.
It's situationally very valuable.
So, I'm doing a little more bonus content here. Looking at Dactyl Nest right now. Reptite Lair right now. I just did Dactyl Nest. Those are the only two things that offer any sort of progression as far as key item or character in Prehistory. Dactyl Nest, one character, and Reptite Lair, one key item, and that's it. But there is a significance to having access to Prehistory beyond that, and that is that it has one of the paths to Lavos inherently in it. We'll get more into that later.
So survived the conveyor belt and now doing the whole Geno Dome thing. And you can see Luca's damage is just great with her spells. Just what stinks with her is the speed. And that's why I gave her a speed belt, so she's getting +2, which is extremely
She also
helpful.
gets one shot by everything physical. I mean, not everything, but it's ridiculous how often she gets one shot by physicals, especially late game. And you can see just like that, that's the last of this segment. And I'm heading into the Nizbel fight.
Say that again?
Nizbel.
I always called him Nizbel.
Yeah. I used to say it Marl. But now I say
Get a
Marl.
Giga Arm, that doesn't stink either.
Oh, wow.
Where'd I put that Frenzy Band?
Sirius Scarlet asks, why is it called Jets of Time? Seemed like a good name for it. It's catchy. Plus, it's a racing thing. It's meant to be raced.
There's also, when you go back in the lore, so the first name that was being discussed was Free Epoch, because like Free Enterprise, you're starting with the airship. But then they're both initialed FE, so that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that name evolved to Wings of Time, because that's actually the nickname of the Epoch Vanilla. Then he came up with basically an alternate version that, although it built off Wings, it's significantly different than Wings. In approach, in... I don't know what to call it, but basically the whole guts of it is different.
Yeah.
And gotta get the tab. There it is. Did you know there's a speed tab there, Muppets, in the factory? Gotta wait for it all.
I did know about that speed tab. Shoutouts to actually Raster Cecil showing me that one. That was definitely him doing a showcase that showed me that. But I think Trenton showed me like 6 or 7 different locations of tabs. And like, I never knew there was a tab there!
That joke orients with one time he was watching me play, and in the Dark Ages, there's a speed tab you grab, and he's telling me, hey, did you know there's a tab there? That I've grabbed 100 times before. And so then I promptly had to tell him every time I got another tab, hey, Muffets, did you know there's a tab here?
Well, and frankly, half the time, I don't. So here we go. We're going to show one of the paths to Lavos right now. This is what I got Go mode in a long time ago. You get the bent hilt and the bent sword, forge the Masamune, have Frog wield it at this location, and it opens up the way to Magus's Castle. And that is one of the ways to get to 12,000 BC. And so this is a mid-endgame dungeon.
Defeating Magus's Castle opens up the Dark Ages. It's one of two ways you can do that. And I'm clearing out. Wish you could fight more of these laser turrets because they are some seriously nice experience for something you can just kill with ice too.
Yeah, that was actually, that's one of my most favorite grinds whenever I use the future route. Is I grind on all of the actual installed encounters in there before topping off the end with Proto 4s in that one room off to the right, just above the dust chute.
We got a rainbow, but no sign of Chrono right now.
Rainbow, huh?
Yeah.
It's casual.
There's unfortunately this habit of sometimes you see the weapon without the character.
Rando's gonna rando, baby. I had an epidemic of crisis arms in seeds that had Chrono, Frog, and Marley. Love a crisis arm right now. Go pure crisis arm strats for the final fight.
So I don't need a lot of these tabs right now, and I'm just stockpiling them, but I do plan to use them before the end because they're valuable, so they're worth picking up even if I don't immediately use them. It's just because they don't make enough difference right now for the menu time, but in the long run, they will be worth it. And there's dark matter. So
Yeah,
also something that
pretty
doesn't
sweet.
stink. That wasn't the order I wanted at all.
Oh, yeah. Game Boy, which theme are you referring to? The Magus's Castle theme? Because if that's what you're referring to, I 100% agree. This is such a good dungeon.
Chances are that's what he's referring to then.
I was talking with Cerebel a while back, one of the people that I follow, did the mod for Final Fantasy Tactics. And he was saying how Magus's Castle is unlike any other dungeon introduction that you get in the SNES canon up to that point. Because you walk in, and everyone's hyped up that Magus is this big baddie, right? And that he could just completely annihilate you with a thought. You walk in, and nobody's there. And then there are people, and they're saying weird things to you. But nobody's attacking you, and you're like, when is it coming? And then when it comes, it brings the boom.
And for not really playing music, it sure sets the mood well.
Yeah.
And as you may have noticed, the levels just keep coming fast and furious now. Oh, I didn't get charged. There we go. Incidentally, this was one of the changes made, and you may have noticed that I didn't have Robo in the lead till now. Any of your characters can get charged for the Geno Dome. So you don't even have to have him to be able to do Geno Dome.
That's right, True Rhyme. Magus raiding his own castle. The early turn.
Well, somebody's got to do it.
Yep, that's right.
And also, if you were wondering, this Bumperbot dude, as I like to call him, is just as much of a jerk as always.
Oh man, I I hate that stupid robot.
There are 3 ways to do it. 1 if you're good. I'm not.
I can't do the
if
quick skip.
You want to do it the intended way. I don't. And then there's this way, which usually works better than this. He's stuck in the wall.
Ah, good, good.
There we go. So yeah, this guy's a dork. Still better than catching the stupid rat. You know which one. Okay, there we go. And we got our dolls, so. Mega Blast, Mermaid Cap, Blackmail looks good.
Oh, Ground Flyer, absolutely. That moment where you walk up to Magus and he's doing the incantation, and then he notices you, looks over his shoulder and says, "Huh, I guess there's time for a little fun." And starts into that battle sequence. That is what stuck in my head as a young felt warrior, and really cemented this as my favorite game of the SNES genre, and probably of all time.
Questioning the validity of the 100 monsters claim. I think that's actually been checked out to be accurate. Just realize you may not necessarily see them all.
So we were checking it one stream a long time ago, and there are far more than 100 monsters in this place.
Well, especially if you count repeatables, but...
Well, no, even discounting repeatables. Like, if you get into every encounter, you fight 300 of them. I was always wondering when 100 monsters was coming in the, like, if I had to beat 100 of them in the foyer in order to get to the next segment. But no, you just have to beat Slash and Fleet.
You can actually avoid quite a number of those, and
yeah.
That's a nice little double tech there for 2,000 damage with Double Bomb. Just casual 2,000 damage.
Yeah, why not?
Fun fact, these monitors, you can actually impact them with status effects, so Confuse, which apparently they did to Magus despite him having... No, he doesn't have the amulet. I swapped it out for a magic seal.
Whoop!
Boosts his magic damage, so I like to do that.
Yeah, I've got one too.
I'd rather Sun Specs or Prism Specs, but hey, when we're doing 2k damage with Double Bomb, we got this.
Oh yeah, that'll do. That'll do quite handily. Yeah, you got your dream team right there. I've got mine.
And we got the clone, so that's half of my go mode in now. What I'd really like to do is do the Sunstone. So you already found the gate key. I have got to do Zombor. So covering a little ground you already did, but it's going to be necessary to be able to do the Sunstone.
Well, this will give me some time to talk about Magus Castle and sort of the approaches therein. There isn't a whole lot about this that's not vanilla. Magus Castle is largely untouched. The encounter skips are still the same. Some of the enemy HP, power, and all that stuff, that's been buffed a little bit just because it's a late game instead of mid-game dungeon, but for the most part, you're looking at a relatively similar setup. And this hallway, you cannot avoid anything, but you can run away from everything.
And the rewards are fitting with being a later dungeon, so they are vastly increased.
Like that elemental mail that I just got, which is super sweet.
You're getting something like 2.5, 3 times the experience I was just getting in Geno Dome.
Yeah. Probably one of the most important pieces of gear for Magus, the Gloom Helm. It adds a +1 to speed. Oh, jeez. Adds a +1 to speed. And it protects against all status ailments. And there's Robo's second best arm right there, the Terra arm. As long as you don't touch any of those green balls, you're not going to get into any encounters in that realm. That stairwell is a little easier to deal with than the other stairwell. And the other one, it's a little more razor thin.
I did so much damage to Ozzie, I killed him in 2 hits instead of having to do the third.
That's the beauty of going out of order.
Yeah, so you have choices usually, although oftentimes the progress is going to be behind a specific path, so you're going to be moved in one direction required, but you almost always have a choice in where you can go if you're not happy and do something a little different. Like in the early game, if you just don't like any of your resources, any of your magic, and you want to level up, you can go to the front of the Denadora Mountains and just do that fight over and over again a bunch of times.
Yeah, knowing your grind locations, just like in any RPG, is super, super important. There are early, mid, and late game grind locations. And so these skips are a little tricky. And this one...
the second outside staircase?
Oh, yeah. And this one, you actually have to force the bird to walk down outside of the, like, out of bounds, basically. And then you can just walk right past him. But you can get into no encounters just so long as you walk past everything. And it's a razor-thin, like, how much? 2-3 pixels, something like that, to get by the birds that are standing sentry.
Fun little damage from the double text.
Now this encounter is unrunnable and unavoidable.
This is the Hall of Unavoidables, as I like to call them.
We've already passed the Hall of Unavoidables. This is the weird pulley room of unavoidables.
Okay, pulley room.
Yeah.
Sure. That one's got some good experience available.
It does. It does. There are 3 fights in here. The first one, unrunnable and unavoidable. The second one is unavoidable. You'll always see it, but you can run from it. Like so. And the third one, however, you cannot run from. This guy right here, but I think I might have this handled.
There's a couple ways you can do that, but basically with the jugglers, it's intended you alternate magic and physical.
Don't need to alternate anything. It's dark matter
Or
and
just-
GG.
Anytime you can one-shot things, that just makes it easier.
Yep. That's the beauty of bringing Magus to his own house.
The access to elements helps with the gimmicks so much that you love an early Magus.
And this is the fun hallway that you could avoid everything in. Just like
I like
that.
to call it the Hall of Completely Avoidables.
Yep.
One's the unavoidables, the other is completely avoidable.
No form of attack will break my barrier, he says.
He is technically correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's flea vests and megaton arms. Oh, that's a great drop, though. Mid-ether and a lapis from each of the pulley levers. Oh, Lapis is a rare drop.
Quite nice.
Oh, there we go. Another Lapis. Nice. With this group, I don't really have to concern myself too much with healing until most of the way through Lavos' second phase. Because you could just blitzkrieg Lavos' face and end him outright when you're fighting the shell. When you're fighting the Lavos machine, it's a little different. Because you're always going to get hit by Doors of Doom. It doesn't matter how fast you are, you're going to get hit by it. And here it is.
So in the meantime, I've got a little bit easier route through here than Muppets did when he came at a lower level, because I had the level grind basically from Geno Dome.
So you get a sneak preview of what you have to deal with for a final attack. Magus is randomized. So we're fighting Frog. Magus is fighting Frog in his castle.
This is the evil Glenn. This is Glenn with two ends. Good Glenn only has one end. The evil one, he's got the mustache and he's got two ends.
Lovely. Yep, seems canon.
This is perfectly fine. Any "this is fine" emotes in chat?
Yeah, this is fine. It's fine.
Bonus points if it's Dragon Phoenix, this is fine, because that's
Oh
just
my
awesome.
goodness. The luck. The luck, Trenton. Shadow. Shadow. Oops.
I've gotten a bunch of dark mails. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yep. Everyone's decked out with blackmail except for Magus. All right, there's water.
Lots of flea vests in this seed.
And you'll see that did actually a good chunk of change to me. Lightning. My luck right here is a no LSS runner's dream right now. There's no fire. Okay, still haven't gotten him down to the half threshold. Actually, is it 2/3 that it goes aggro?
You mean risk casting a spell?
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number. I think it's about 1/3.
It's got a third left. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got 6,000 and change, but 6,000, and it's somewhere like 1,800 to 2,000 that he switches. But he does the soft switch first, the first time he doesn't counterattack you.
Yeah.
Which is nice because you can sneak in an extra element attack on his weakness.
Yep.
Fun fact, that's actually so strong that in the glitchless speedrun, if you were manipulating the RNG to get fire as the last barrier, you could skip the second dark matter and kill him after the first.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so I'm not saying playing yakety sax in the background is required for this fight, but it doesn't. and it does improve the quality.
Yeah, it's about to be over right here.
Got the epic fight and the comic relief fight at the same time. Marley is confused and I am unconcerned.
Good night, sweet frog, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Did we just seriously finish those fights in sync? I just flashed for the defeat on Yakra.
Perfect.
Nice. I can't wait to see that on the video. So we're talking with each other, obviously, but we're not watching each other. So I get the Prism Shard unlocked. Melchior would obviously do a lot of stuff here, vanilla. However, in this, there's only the initial item you get by defeating Yakra because you can't exit the castle without defeating Yakra. And you can come back with the Sunstone and get a second item there. So I unlocked this for the purpose of getting that, but now I need access to Prehistory to be able to cash that in.
So
But
here
that does
I
also
am
mean
in
I can be finished with Marley.
12,000 BC. Just topping up on some essentials.
There's I think 5 shops in 12,000. There's a lot of them.
There are 4. There are 4. There's the one in Terra Cave, or the Earthbound Cave.
Yeah.
There's 2 in Kajar, and 1 in Enhasa.
Okay. I always get confused about that.
A lot of shops, nonetheless. Now, I have
Now,
the Ruby
theoretically,
knife.
in vanilla, there would be a 5th shop, though, because there would be one after the Blackbird. So
Yes.
I wasn't terribly far off.
Yeah. So, I have the Ruby Knife, which means I have Go Mode. I have access to the Ocean Palace, which means I have access to Lavos. So, this seed could eventually, could in essence be done now for me. This was, for all intents and purposes on my end, a big-time jet seed. And given the nature of the party that I'm working with, I didn't even need to go to the end of time, so any of the extraneous stuff I did to get to the end of time after I got Go Mode, completely irrelevant. So I could have been here in probably $1.15. But I do want to show off this.
You don't go down any wrong rabbit holes.
Right. I want to show off Mount Woe. Because Mount Woe actually is a valid dungeon. And is taken into account for the key item structure. Much to a runner's chagrin when it becomes required. Because that means that you have to go through either Magus Castle or the Tyranno Lair in order to get there. And typically you don't want to do that unless you are ready to go fight Lavos himself. If you don't have the Ruby Knife, you're probably not going to do this. So you're going to exhaust all other options before actually going up to Mount Woe. If you play purely by the numbers. Some people like to play the risk game, do the dungeon, and then see what they get. I've had Ruby Knife hidden here once. Rude.
The Tyranno layer, by the way, would require the Dreamstone to be able to complete it. Otherwise, the gate you need won't open.
So, Papita, I've given this a lot of thought. How can a Rubble dodge so much?
Deep thoughts with Muppets.
Well, to me, it's kind of like Final Fantasy I miss, which is not to say that you didn't hit it, but it is to say that you didn't do any damage when you hit it. So it's like you can only hit it, and do damage to it in this one little itty bitty spot in its face. Like, you have to poke it in the eye, and it's just really hard to find. And it's constantly moving around.
That concludes Deep Thoughts with Muppets. Guys are weaker than Giga. I never remember the magnitude of his arms. Just have to run to the side to skip those two dinos, and I'm always happy to because it comes with a monkey, and I hate the monkeys. They're jerks. They have wings, so they're basically birds, and birds are jerks.
Oh, the wing monkeys, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, those guys hurt bad.
I think I'm a significantly higher level here against these Rubbles than Muppets, so I'm very optimistic about killing both of them, so watch me fail.
Dark Slash with the big raid. Welcome on in. He's going to be one of the runners for the Beyond Chaos run. Or has that already happened? It might have already happened.
There's a lot of fun in the Randomania Marathon. It's very worth checking out a lot of these runs, and maybe somebody can get the schedule link in chat. But even try out some games you're not used to, because sometimes randomizers just add a lot of fun to a game you wouldn't even expect.
Oh, yeah. I've always been a fan of Soul Blazer, but the Soul Blazer randomizer was such a great find. And added a whole new dimension of awesome to it. Took a decent game and gave it a third dimension. It was really nice.
It's got laser spin and flare on the same Rubble fight.
Well, there's your Omega Flare, if you can find a blue rock.
I doubt it. My rock checks haven't worked out too well.
Yeah, well. What'd you get from the rock-throwing bird?
Black.
Oh, okay. Dark Eternal's fun, though. I had a seed that I ran Dark Eternal with, and it whomps down.
Okay. Time to increase some stats. I had 10 power tabs stored up.
There are no unrunnables in Mount Woe. You can avoid some of them. Largely, you can't avoid most of them. But you can run away from everything.
They're very good rewards. The only one that I really detest is the bird-carried imps. Because, of course, birds are jerks.
Birds
you have
are
to kill
always
them
jerks.
twice. It does not matter how much damage you do. You have to kill them twice.
Yep. The Batman imp.
Or the jerk imps.
The jerk imps. Yeah. You see me just running through this, though. Mount Woe is actually not a particularly long check itself. It's just the fact that you have to complete a mid-end game dungeon to get there that makes it an unlikely check. If you commit yourself to going one route like that, do the check, before you have Ruby Knife to get through to Ocean Palace, it's not the worst idea in the world. It's just not playing by the numbers.
Nice, easy Rust Tyranno.
Oh, yeah.
Dark Matter, Fire Tackle. Didn't take a lot. When you're doing 2k damage a pop.
Oh, yeah, that's 2 to 3 shots right there.
Alright, so there's my gate key. I'm going to be able to cash in this Sunstone now. Should I get the cake, chat? I don't need to, but I could. It's on the way.
Well, why not?
What flavor cake, chat? That's the whole question. There's no other to the question. What flavor cake?
For me, it would be ice cream cake. Which I know ice cream is not a flavor in and of itself, but...
Well, what flavor ice cream?
Probably vanilla bean. I like the more pure vanilla.
Solid. My grandmother used to make an ice cream cake. It was chocolate swirl ice cream and a chocolate cake.
Oh. Wow. That's
that was for special occasions.
That's a chocolate overload.
It was for special occasions. You didn't get that all the time.
Did I already get this tab? Yeah, I did. Great.
Don't you love that discussions of cake is the most active chat has got? I bet you people watching this later on YouTube are answering their flavor of cake.
Hey, cake matters.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah. See, red velvet with vanilla cream icing. My goodness, that is a headache for me. The most delicious headache you could ask for.
Alright, it's nothing too helpful in that shop. And did you show that shop in Prehistory? Or should I mention that it's there?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's in the trading hut, and you're used to just thinking about the trading, but that guy is actually an item shop vanilla. They don't advertise it well. Place the Sunstone, and it's been simplified to not require the Jerky for the Sunstone anymore.
Which is a wonderful change. Value V, thank you for the raid. Welcome to the Rando. So you can see that Giga Gaia is not necessarily difficult, especially in these later levels here. The access to dark matter, Ozzie punch, and all that, it takes care of them pretty handily. Whoa! A Vigil hat, a Safe Helm, and a Terra Arm.
That's stacked.
Those are some drops, man.
Yep, the Forest Rune's here since I've got a charged pendant, and we'll see what happens. Okay, chat, you make the call if you can do this fast enough. Left or right? Left or right, chat? Got a few seconds before I'm able to pick.
So the reward that we get for that is the Jerky. Now, as we just mentioned, the Jerky is not required to do the Sunstone Moonstone quest, but you can still give it away.
All right,
show
I
you what
see
that
4
does.
to 1 on the left, so we're team left today. It says an elixir. Good choice, chat. I approve. I'm
So
happy with an elixir.
Go back here, and he's already got something. Wow! I'll take it. Prism Helm.
What Prism
Helpful.
Helm?
Yeah. Jerky.
Who had a prism helm? There's the Jerky?
Yeah.
Nice. Where's
That's
Jerky from?
That's pretty nifty.
Jerky was Mount Woe?
Oh, yeah, Jerky was Mount Woe.
That's too bad.
Let's see here. Do that.
Honestly, if it was a Tyranno layer, I may have done it to get the prism helm.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we turn in the Sunstone.
Oh, yeah, and girl.
Wait, I have the Sunstone.
this is
Melchior, what are you
great.
doing to me? I picked it up, didn't I?
What?
The Sunstone.
You pick it up from the future.
Yeah, I did. Thought I did. I messed up. I guess I messed up. It's not in my inventory. Get back for it. Mistakes were made, apparently.
So there's an addition right there. The Kajar New has 2 shops instead of the 1.
Did you do the new fight?
No.
Not
I haven't done the new fight. I'm just buying stuff. Now we can sell out now, because I don't need any of that.
Just saying we may never use that elixir. I'm pretty sure I'll use that elixir.
Yeah. And here's a cheeky little speed tab location.
That would be the infamous Muppet asking if I knew there was a tab there.
I'm telling you that I do know there's a tab there, Trenton. So unfortunately, I got no Dreamstone, which means that I'm not going to be able to show you Tyranno Lair. We'll be able to show you the end of the game, though.
Well, there is that.
But Dreamstone to Tyranno Lair gets you to this era, and then the requirement is the same after the era is unlocked. You need the ruby knife. Why? Because we say so.
And there's my Chrono Trigger, and I finally have Go Mode.
Hey! You got some levels, baby. 29? My goodness.
27, 28.
28, yeah.
And
You mentioned that you were
end up
high
getting
level.
a lot because I've got to do Death Peak and not Ocean Bells, Black Omen. So I still got a bunch to do.
So typically speaking, with this golem fight, you have to worry about it copycatting you. Copycat physicals, rough, single target, does 50% damage first attack, second attack, it wrecks your face. With lightning and shadow damage, it only has the 1 attack, which is AoE, and it's pretty rough. Fire and ice have single target, then AoE, first attack, second attack, but they're all susceptible to the host of status ailments.
Like Glitchless speedrun, you use Boogie to get him to stop.
Funny enough, that's exactly what I did.
So you did a Muppets Boogie?
I did the Muppet Boogie, complete with flailing arms.
Natural, it's the only way to do it.
It's the only way to do it, Trenton. And here's the final dungeon for my route. And there isn't a whole heck of a lot that I'm going to need. I've got full status protection for everybody, so this is going to be a breeze.
I think you had mid-ethers for sale, and I'm going to need to pick some of those up. Yeah, there you go. Unfortunately, that's the best I have available, so... Oh, Chrono, we can sell the Aeon Blade. And I don't have Glenn, so I can sell his swords as well. That's a bunch of money.
Oh, yeah. Have way the heck too much money.
I don't think I'll be using those either, so...
Now, you see
There's a
this
bunch of
route that
money.
I'm running is mostly about gathering the treasures that are located here. It does require me to go through pretty much all of the encounters in this area, but they're all runnable encounters. I'm looking for... Basically, I'm looking for a couple of things. Some sunshades or prism specs. Another gold stud would be wonderful. Should have bought a silver stud. I have one. Should have bought another. And in this encounter, I've got a couple more chances coming up.
You trying to steal any?
Nah. No, I don't have time for that.
Fair enough. You never know what it'll steal. If you have it early, it's especially a good idea to do it against low-risk bosses because they can drop some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, with Tech Randomizer, it's a little less of a sure thing that you're going to get Charm. One of my old routes before the Tech Randomizer was implemented in this was whenever I had Ayla was specifically designed to get her Charm through Heckran Cave so that I could charm early bosses.
Fun fact on Death Peak, don't talk to that doll, and he actually has a much bigger hitbox for blocking the wind.
Alright, so this is pretty much endgame levels that I'm looking at right here. Level 30, given some extra fights. Probably end up being 32, 33. This, however, I do want to show off. The 2 Thrasher, 2 Mage fight at the top of this stairwell. I can one-shot it with Dark Matter. Gives 2,600 experience and 80 tech points. Now, why is that so important? Because I can trigger this fight over and over and over again.
Ooh, nice. I just got some prism specs.
Oh ho ho! And Death Peak?
Yep.
Very nice. That's a huge find.
Yeah, Magus's spell damage is going to go up quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
His physical will do well as nice as well, which is sort of what the description implies. It doesn't tell you, though, that his magic damage is going to jump up. And,
Yeah. So
it does quite a bit.
it's a straight up 50% plus damage for all damage output for anyone wearing prism specs. Sunshades, it's 25%. And that's just all damage output. It has no bearing on whether or not you're doing it with a sword or with magic or with a bow or whatever. 25% Sunshades, 50% prism specs.
Yeah, so I have an item priority that I like to do.
Magus' Castle theme or
With
Ocean
Magus, I'll give
Palace?
him prism specs if I've got them. I'll do sun specs if I don't, and I'll do magic seal if I don't, just to get his spell damage up.
Game Boy, I'm gonna have to say Ocean Palace is my favorite. That's my favorite theme. Of those two, I would choose Ocean Palace. That being said, my actual favorite theme is the Overworld Kingdom of Zeal theme. With the simulated sitar and the really chill, really lax atmosphere of it all.
one of the things you may notice is we're getting significantly better treasures in these later dungeons than we were in the earlier ones, like the prism specs. I just got a gloom cape. We're doing quite a bit better here. Also, run to the top of that screen to avoid a fight. We haven't necessarily been highlighting those as we go along, but there's a lot of trying to move around in just the right way to avoid encounters. And I've done a series of YouTube videos on that, so that...
Yeah, big shout-outs to that. That's where I learned a lot of my encounter skips.
I keep saying I've got to update those, and I haven't done it yet, but I really have to update those. I actually did them back during Wings of Time, but since the encounters don't move, the logic holds.
Oh, yeah.
But the key item parts has changed a little bit.
So you can avoid a couple of these encounters down here in this stairwell, the second and third ones. Second one, you just have to not bump the Thrasher. Otherwise, he'll jump down, and then you'll have to fight him. And the third one, you avoid the Thrashers and Lashers as they're moving around. But I take those fights intentionally, because it's all part of my experience route. And you can run away from this first scout fight. And that one only gives 1,800 experience, something like that. It's not huge. And we get to prepare for this, everybody's favorite thing, elevators.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, you get 2 of them.
Mine are a little better, actually.
Yeah, well, you can get 0 encounters in your elevators. Mine are definitely predetermined.
That's part of better. Also, just the actual enemies are a little better.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's a couple of those cracker fights. Not too much, just a little bit. Gonna end up getting a lot of experience along this route. That doesn't mean I'm necessarily feeling great with my levels because I don't have the high level healing stuff. I bought some lapises just so that I would have an AoE healing option, and I didn't really have a lot else to spend my money on. I've also got a stack of mid-ethers to help recharge, and Robo has heal beam to help on that front.
And Robo's heal beam is not huge, but it'll do the job. In a pinch, it can heal upwards of 200 to 300 damage depending on level.
Just make sure I target the right thing with this Lavos spawn. Incidentally, this is another of the changes people may be familiar with. We talked earlier about some of the mini-bosses being removed. Normally, Death Peak, there'd be 3 Lavos spawns, and we only have to fight 1. Which actually, you only have to fight 2 in the vanilla, because you can run away from the second one if you never knew that.
I didn't know that until real recently.
It's one of those things you wouldn't really think to try it.
Yeah, but you don't get boss music for it, right? You get the normal encounter music for the second one. So it's kind of a clue.
Plus, this game really likes its 3s.
It does.
3 characters, 3 dolls for the mountain, 3 Lavos spawns.
3 forms of Lavos.
It's true.
Yeah.
3 sections to 2 of those parts.
And as such, there's 3 paths to Lavos in Jets of Time. Goes with the theme. Might want to equip that Gloom Cape.
Feel free to throw Illuminati emotes in chat. Feels appropriate.
Does it?
Is it ever going to feel
Watchful
more appropriate?
eye.
Hey, we got a little quiet spot here, so let's throw another shout out to Strizer for doing our restreaming, and he's also kept the tracker today, so big thanks to him. And thank you all of you who have been chilling with us tonight. We have a nice crowd for this, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as Muppets and I are having some fun with this.
Absolutely. Let's see if I can get this scouter skip. I got the back end of it. Oh, I got it, baby.
Nice.
I can only ever get the right one. I can't get the left one. I don't know why.
There's another game mode we're not playing with right now, by the way, called Lost Worlds, and I'll just mention that it exists.
Oh, yeah.
But it's another game mode that you will not have 1,600 to start, so it's kind of inverted.
Lost Worlds is, it's an interesting, I would say, bizarro world version of Jets of Time. And there have been people who have been playing it recently who have beaten it in an hour 20.
Incidentally, what made me think of it was with the Black Omen, it's inverted how you access it in two modes. So in Lost Worlds, you have to access it from the future, and in the other modes, that's the only place you can't.
I believe that you can't you can access it in vanilla in the future, but it doesn't, go anywhere.
You can't go in the door.
Yeah. The door just stays shut. Is there a Discord for Chrono Trigger Jets of Time? There is. There absolutely is. Don't really have the link on me right now, but maybe Strizer can put that out there? Question mark?
Or Game Boy, maybe?
Volunteer?
Hopefully. Not to call you out. But yeah, if anyone could get that up there, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
And if not, I'll make sure we get it before we go off the air. I have a strong dislike of the goons because, of course, they have wings, so they're birds, and birds are jerks.
Yep. So again, didn't have to worry about the elementals for the golems because I had Boogie.
They also absorb shadow and lightning, so you can't do luminaire or dark matter. Thanks, Game Boy. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And whenever this makes its way to YouTube, I'll try to make sure I come back and give people the links there as well. Hi, YouTube.
So this is it. I'm set and ready to go for Lavos.
Nice.
And
Obviously, his is a bit shorter path, but you have to stop and grind levels, whereas I won't.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have mostly all the levels you'll ever need.
And also, there's the question of what resources will be available to. Like,
Yeah.
he saw shops that I'm not going to see, and I'm going to see shops that he's not going to.
In addition, we are playing with the flag called the Powered Up Pendant, which makes it so you don't have to power up the pendant with the Mammon machine in 12,000 BC. It just comes pre-powered. And he got into some treasure chests that I wouldn't be able to get into, and those 3 doors in the future with all sorts of goodies. There's triple kick. You missed the jumping new. You missed it. Him, her, it.
Terrible mistake.
Them.
Of course, you couldn't see the new fight because apparently Muppet skipped it.
I skipped it.
I went too soon. Mistakes were made. A lot of these boss orb fights, you can actually skip them based on how he blinks.
Really?
I'm just gonna kill the center, and then that way they won't do any damage to me, and I'll either get experience from this or I won't. Chat saying I won't have to fight Shell. Actually, I don't have to fight Lavos. I'm gonna have a different final boss.
We are showing off one more flag. The Z flag, the Zeal 2 flag. What the Zeal 2 flag does is it makes the second form of Queen Zeal the final fight. You can end the seed there.
Damage on that crit from Magus.
That's Rip Lavos, by the way. At least the shell.
Okay, you had me wondering.
It won't be long before the big man's down. Now, I don't have any shelters, so I'm just using mid-ethers, but I do have mega elixirs, so that's nice.
It
Right.
is.
Right,
I'm
Trenton?
jelly.
Right?
I'm jelly. They're not a guarantee in this at all. You can full clear a seed, and you will not necessarily see mega elixirs for sale like they are in vanilla.
I think the last time I saw mega elixirs in one of these seeds was version 1.4. I got a speed tab and I never used it. Whoops.
Doesn't do you any good if you don't use it.
Yep. That's fine. Screw it. I've got 6 of them. Might as well lay down a mega elixir.
It's very handy when you don't have shelters. And the AoE complete
That's
heal
the most
is quite
expensive
nice.
shelter you could possibly buy. Alright, shot on Magus. And shot on Ayla. Perfect.
Full tonic drop. I don't mind seeing that. I can use all those I can get.
Now, a little known thing about this particular update is Obstacle does a random status attack now. It's not always chaos. It can be anything, any status, from poison, sleep, slow, stop, chaos, like, I think that's all of them, right?
Did you say slow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
think
slow,
you got
poison, sleep, stop, chaos. And there's Shadow Slay. Lets me know I'm pretty close. Yeah, there he goes. So I'm going to execute, hopefully, I'm going to execute a fun little strategy that is arguably a glitch, but I'm going to do it because I like to show it off.
Valid reason. By the way, I'm not running here because I'm skipping a big eye showing up, walking instead.
On the last part of the fade out, you have 3 frames. You hit X, you can get into the menu. Let's see if I can do it. Yep, easy every time. Speaking of that speed tab. Do I want to use a I think I want to use a silver stud on everyone. Yep. That's how we're gonna do it. Let's go.
Hyper Ether, that's nice.
So I wasn't fast enough and I got hit by Protective Seal. Boo. Ooh, Crying Heavens. All three of them go right after Magus. And down he goes.
Ouch.
Thanks, game. You're a pal.
No one said it was going to be free.
Yeah. Well, that's why we have our revives. Yeah, that's pretty rude. It's pretty rude. You can recover from it. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Again, feel free to use "this is fine" emotes. Chat.
Another Crying Heavens, this time on Robo. And an attack on Robo. Starting to get real rude. They're ganging up. But that's going to take out the left bit, and this is the classic strategy. You take out a bit, you wait. Another Crying Heavens.
Alright, see what the news got for sale. We have amulets, we have elixirs, we have full tonics.
Hey, elixirs, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna max that. That's gonna give me 8. The amulets would be nice. They'd be more valuable for Lavos. So, I'd rather have the elixirs, personally. And the new on the right will let you escape if you want to. But why would we want to? We got so many friends here, like Tubster.
He just wants to hug. Wow, we didn't get one time warp. We're just getting slapped and hit with lightning bolts. Which arguably
3k
is
damage
fine.
on Tubster with a fire tackle, by the way. Just casual.
Fire and ice, right? Another slap.
He didn't live for the ice.
Ah, yeah. Oh, Magus is gonna die again right here. Because that's gonna kill the center bit. And if you attack the left bit when the center bit's not around, they do an X strike counter.
It's a strong one as well.
Yep, and it's very powerful.
That's sort of what being strong means, Muppets. This fight is sort of near and dear to my heart, this Ruminator. This is, if you wanted to get level 99 vanilla, this is the fight you do it with.
Really? The Ruminator
I'm not saying
fight.
it's pretty, but it's the fight you do it with, because experience for time is the best. And I have done that because I wanted to.
Steal for Mega Elixirs. Have more than enough money at that point that it doesn't matter.
I wouldn't mind stealing a couple of your Mega Elixirs.
Yeah. I've used it in an alarming 4 of them, so. There's more Mega Elixir than I've ever used in this fight before.
Yes, enemy drops are randomized, so it's not necessarily that you would get a Mega Elixir on the steal if you even spent the turn on it.
And that's the ball game.
GG.
Yep. And I got a rune blade from Lavos Core.
Nice. Ooh, good turn from the eyes there. We're making very good progress through the Black Omen here.
Yeah, let's see where you're at. Oh, you're pretty close.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah. Have you done... No, the first mutant fight's coming up.
What's that?
The first mutant fight?
Yeah.
Giga Mutant?
Yeah, we've only done Tubsters so far.
Yeah. Right.
Actually, the first mutant fight was removed, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But that's another case of, like, the two Lavos spawns were removed. The mutant that would be at the very entrance here, he was removed.
Oh, you're taking these fights.
You have to, that one. That was a Tubster.
You do not have to take that fight in this. That is a runnable encounter now.
Oh.
In
He's
fact,
worth good experience anyways, because he dies in one flare.
Yeah. There are only 3 encounters in the Black Omen that I think you cannot run from, and it's that one hallway with the bats that turn into goons. And is the ending randomized? Yes. Depending on what your party makeup is, you can get one of 4 endings or something like that. If you have no Magus in your party, in the end, it acts like you killed Magus. So you get the ending that shows Glenn. This is the best ending, because that's the everybody lives, everybody's happy, hallelujah, amen ending. You can end without Chrono. You get the Chrono-less ending.
Where they're chasing the old man.
Yep.
Poor old man. But can you get the ending where Chrono talks?
I don't believe so.
Shame.
I know.
How many people's minds do you think I just blew by saying there's an ending where Chrono talks?
Several. There are 14 endings to the vanilla game. The one that I've seen the most is the no LSS ending, where you don't even complete Ocean Palace. You just use the bucket and you go kill them.
Yeah, I think my favorite for sentimental purposes is just the New Game Plus ending with the dev room.
Yeah, the developer room ending.
Yeah. Just for sentimental purposes, that was such an accomplishment to do it with just Chrono and Marley.
I sound like I fell in a well. Oh, yeah. It's not going off my audio.
I mean, you didn't deny falling in a well.
I did not deny such a thing. There are many parallel universes, Trenton. In one of those universes, I just fell into a well.
So, Giga, need magic. I'm actually not sure this double tech will work, but if it will, it'll be very impressive damage. If not, mistakes
double
happen.
V-bomb will absolutely murder face him, yes.
Hold on just 1 second. I'm gonna crank you up a little on my end, which will help considering how they're grabbing the audio. There we go.
Zaboom! Yeah. Double V-bomb, very handy.
So obviously we're doing great damage here against him.
You're doing 1,500, 1,900, and doing it to both, which is really important. If you kill the top without killing the bottom goes absolutely berserk.
I've still got that frenzy.
PJ, you're gonna try the Chronolith's ending. You can complete everything up through to where you normally complete Ocean Palace, You can do Ocean Palace, but you cannot actually end... Oh, no, you complete Ocean Palace, and then you don't do Death Peak. You just go to the bucket.
So again, thanks everybody who's joined us and is chilling out in chat tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the show so far. Muppets and I have had some fun, haven't we?
It's fantastic. It was very active chat, too, and I never acknowledged anyone for the GGs. My apologies. Desrupt wrote, Dark/88, Anguriel86, Flea the Magician, Gameboy F9, Strizer86, Raffle Wattle, love the name, Papita. Thank you very much for the GGs, everybody.
Oh, this damage with the Prism Specs is just so nice.
Oh, yeah.
So is that thunder coming through my microphone, by the way? Because that was pretty loud.
No, it was minor. It was
okay.
Minor. It's no big deal. Everything's fine.
I'm still waiting for This Is Fine emotes in chat. I'm surprised nobody has any. Makes me think I need one.
Yeah. I think TM, one of the Free Enterprise people and longtime FF4 speedrunner, has a This Is Fine emote. So I do want to highlight one thing. I intentionally went out of my way to do other things that I didn't need to do. I had go mode after my first 3 checks. I could have beaten this seed in about an hour 45.
Yeah, and obviously I could have gone the same path and beaten it much faster than this, but we really wanted to show up the depths of the randomizer, and sometimes this is the path that's going to be open instead.
Yep.
So that way we're giving you a fair representation of the depth and quality of the randomizer.
And this way you've seen all of the character locations, you've seen most of the locations for key items. And you've seen all but one of the dungeons that have to do with progression. Didn't get a chance to show you Tyranno Lair because I have no idea where Dreamstone is. Probably
I'm guessing it's Son of Sun.
Yeah, probably Son of Sun.
I think that's the only check we didn't do that we could have done.
That makes sense.
Okay, don't run. Oh no, wait, this is the walls.
I could race you to see if I can complete Tyranno Lair from my last save before you beat the game.
Go for it.
I gotta wait for the credits to end.
Okay.
Yeah. Always show the credits when you beat a game.
Fair, I can't argue with that.
So, Trenton's fighting panels right before the mutant fight right there. Each of them have 750 hit points. You can one-shot them with Dark Matter, or if you have Prism Specs, Dark Mist. Heck, if you have Prism Specs, you could probably one-shot them with Lightning too.
Ice 2 would actually be faster, but I stick with Dark Mist just so I don't have to re-menu. Because menuing costs time, and if you're not the best at it, then you'll save more time by not menuing.
It's fair. So I see you've gone with your dream team.
I have. So I really like to have somebody with AoE heals, and Robo is accomplishing that. And on times he does not have to heal, he is just going to be able to smack stuff for a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And
now, Terra Mutant's a little different than Giga Mutant. Terra Mutant, super vulnerable to magic damage on the top, super invulnerable to everything on the bottom, save for, like, Tailspin. Hits like a truck, only has 5,000 hit points. So if you can survive that opening salvo, right the ship, you can completely demolish him in 3 shots.
Or 2.
I wonder if you can do it right here. Yeah. 2 shots. Gotta love it. Gotta love that.
Yeah, that's why I have Robo in the center spot, is that he can do double bombs.
Shoutouts to Ted Woolsey, for whom we all have to thank for bringing this over. He fought very hard to have Square bring this game over to the United States when it did.
I mean, hey, translations are hard. The dude doesn't get enough love. And besides, do you really want to live in a world without son of a submariner?
Honestly, I love that. Ooh, you didn't heal.
Okay, mistakes may have been made. Let's see if this kills me. Yeah, let's do the shelter thing. I was a little too brave. This is what I bought the stack of shelters for. I will gladly save after every boss that I can.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's see if I can bring this up.
Also, I think instead of doing Uzi Punch, I'm going to switch back to Fire Tackle for here.
There we go. Victory Dumpster Fire.
Dog poking his head in here. It's roughly time for his evening walk, and he wants it.
Aww.
He's like, why aren't we going? Our speedrun's really more important than I am. No, they're not. We'll get a walk in after this.
The tiniest little bit of the speedrun that you have left. Now that destruction zone is Shadow Elemental, and it is gorgeous because Black Male, Black Vests own this place super hardcore. Including the Zeal 2 fight, and you'll notice that right away. The AoE attacks, there's only one that it takes care of, which is of course Dark Gear, the shadow damage attack. But it handles up on both of the laser style attacks that Zeal 2 does out of her fingers. There's one that's just a yellow zip, minor shadow damage. You can just shrug that off. There's the weird pink triangle one that does a little bit harder of a hit. That is also shadow damage. And if you end up going blackmails with rainbow helms, you nerf 50% of incoming lightning damage. Her most common attack, Skygate, will do almost nothing. And blackmail rainbow helm is the optimal setup for Zeal 2.
Yeah, so we're in pretty good shape here. You
Yeah.
gotta get through these panels first. Obviously, Fire Tackle did a nice bit of damage against that Lavos spawn. Oh, it's not dead. Oh, it is dead. Okay, I was confused. I wasn't hearing the destruction noise.
And he's making the push to the end. Again, the Zeal 2 flag is on, which means that when he beats Zeal 2, he beats the game, and it's over. And that was added as a sort of everything trying to be equal a little bit. There were complaints about how if you find Black Omen route and somebody else that you're racing against finds Ocean Palace route, Black Omen route is significantly slower than the Ocean Palace route. But, you know, Rando's gonna Rando. But this was a sort of thing that Raster Cecil put in there to kind of level the playing field for that. Allow for a more even chance and maybe have a Black Omen route beat an Ocean Palace route.
And this is still under active development, so this is where we are today, and a month from now we may be in a different place. Okay, can't hit her with double bomb, so we're going to fire tackle. Just going to keep a little bit of HP up and not worry too much, but getting nice damage.
Now, Zeal 1's halation attack is problematic for only a couple of reasons. It's not problematic in the context of this fight specifically, it's problematic in the context of what comes next, because you have to fight the Mammon Machine, and you have to get it down quick. It has been buffed to become a massive AoE monster. You can't just sit there. It builds its power, and then I think it's 2 turns, and it unleashes for about 800 damage to everybody.
But we got good strats for dealing with it, so...
yeah.
This is fine.
If I'm not mistaken, you can actually get into the menu in that fade out. I discovered that quite by accident.
Okay, can't hit it with bomb. Not entirely sure all the enemies that you can hit with the double bomb, so I'm checking them because they wouldn't necessarily be the vanilla strats. But, yeah, 2 hits. Not bad. And these have been modified because it's the boss rush and your lower levels and your resources are lower, so they've been designed to be something you can still beat.
You can see here that descending into this fight with 200 hit points. It's going to be a little rough.
Yeah, I'm expecting her to wipe out everybody's HP on the first turn, though, so I'll save Magus and do a Lapis, I think.
Halation? On the first turn? Nah.
Okay, I'll open up with the Lapis then.
Yeah, no. So, the Zeal 2 is funky. You can only use this halation against you if you attack the left hand, I think it is. Right hand being MP Buster. And the face, when the face is down to, I believe it's a little under half, then you automatically have those special attacks queued up by the left and right hands. So their next turn, they will unleash halation, followed by MP Buster. But it only queues it up that one time. It's not necessarily an aggro moment.
Okay, we're a little bit better pace now.
Yeah. And get Luca back on her feet.
Oh, I never switched off that Frenzy Band for something better. Oh well. And technically that head is in range for double bomb. And that is in fact the vanilla strat for the glitchless speedrun.
It's so strange that that's in range for it, but it is.
I think the head is treated as closer.
3,000 damage is pretty hard to sneeze at there.
Yeah, I wish I had done something better than the Frenzy Band, but it's certainly not worth resetting over.
No. And I love that Dark Gear is a free heal right there, and pretty much all of her attacks end up being free heals. Shoutouts to keeping a Frenzy Band on.
Yeah, I lucked out with how much Dark Mail was available in this seed. That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Here we go. Would be hilarious if I somehow managed to kill her on one of those counterattacks. I could never manage that, but it'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Robo's getting low on his MP, so let's go ahead and use that first elixir on him. That's unfortunate. Crit on the counter, though. Oh, all that wonderful, delicious MP, and it's gone.
What's really nice about having the armor setup that you do is that you can shrug off a good majority of the attacks that are coming at you. You're not even really in dire straits after halation because the next move is probably going to be one of those laser shots. Usually isn't anything like Skygate. Skygate's the only thing that can really do you in.
Yeah, and our magic defense has gotten pretty good. I'm a higher level than you need to be here just because of how much we went through to get here.
And you're about there, I think.
Maybe one more double bomb?
Probably one more after this one, yeah.
No, that's it.
Oh, yep, well, there you go.
Hey, free amulet. So, hey, we made our estimate. It's 2:30, so
Yep,
we're helping
there you go.
doing our part to keep the marathon on track. Can we
Love
get
it.
the link for Discord again, please, for everyone in chat?
Absolutely.
Hope you-
And cyber high five for that, Trenton.
We had a lot of fun doing this. I approached Muppets about a little bit different concept for this, just because the routes are so different. I thought, well, what if instead of just doing a run or doing a race, we actually intentionally took the different paths? And he was on board for it, so appreciate that a lot.
And we get to see this ending. I forget which ending this is.
I don't know, but we're kind of showing off all the various enemies. You know, we didn't do Ozzie's Fort either, but you can do Ozzie's Fort to lower prices at Medina Village. It also has a bunch of good stuff in it.
Yeah. It's a lot of time for a whole lot of whatever, to be honest.
Yeah,
Unless
like if
you
you
find
had
some-
dark matter and you wanted to unlock techs on somebody else, you could beat the bosses there and
Sure.
get a bunch of tech points for them. That's probably its primary use.
Well, and if you see something really juicy like a rainbow in there, in that shop, then you go, yeah, maybe I'll make that actually buyable.
You can get enough money to buy one item there. You're just not going to buy a bunch of them there.
Right. Well, there you go. That's Jets of Time in a nutshell. And I just want to highlight, we took absolutely divergent paths. We went out of our way to do a whole bunch of extra stuff. And still, 235.51, that's all it took. So you can complete one of these seeds in a pretty decent amount of time. If you know a lot of the skips, it'll be a lower number, obviously. If you are good at menuing in an RPG, then it'll be even lower. If you know Chrono Trigger really, really well, it'll be lower. Like, it rewards that kind of knowledge and aptitude. I cannot recommend it enough as somebody who likes Chrono Trigger to get into this and have a nice compact experience of Chrono Trigger in around 2 hour mark.
Well, there's a lot of excitement ahead on the Randomania Marathon, so hope you'll stick around, and thank you Game Boy and Randomania for putting us on here tonight. Hope everybody's had fun. Thank you, Muppets, and good night.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trenton. Good night, everyone.